doing this as a video instead of a live stream because I don't know if I've got it in me yet to take a lot of questions and shit, and I can't be bothered with all that stuff. So I'm going to talk about stuff that I have been promising to talk about because it's going to affect everything. So but I ain't gonna just sit back and do it and be like, woe is me. Well, let's do a Viking. Wow, music transition was almost perfect then. Let's do a makeup. We're gonna do a makeup look. We're gonna do a Viking makeup look.
You couldn't kill me if you tried for 100 years.
Be looking at like runes and stuff. So I'm gonna pick I've picked a bunch of runes. So I'm gonna do courage, strength, protection. And then I'm also going to fit somewhere on there health and healing because I could use some fucking healing and I could use some fucking health. So let's get on it. Alright, it's not going to be a complicated look. It's just going to be something very basic because I'm talking while I'm doing it, and yeah, you know, and I do actually have to do stuff today. So I need something that's not going to be like 2 hours to get off. So no lipstick on the face today, okay? So first off, it's probably easiest to talk about. I have been very, very like spotty with like streaming, and even in Dave's streams now, I've just been awful. I've been having a lot of fatigue. So I have anemia, and I usually only get it, you know, around specific times of the month. Coincidence? I think not. But, you know, I've always just had, like, I've got an iron spray, which is this one that you can actually buy on Amazon, and it's really good. It goes straight underneath your tongue. It's got a baked apple taste, so you don't even, it's not bitter, like, because iron is really bitter. It's not as bitter. It's got a little sweetness to it. I mean, yeah, whatever. But so I've been very anemic because I'm bleeding from multiple different places, and it's knocked me out. So one of the things I'm going through at the moment is when I move too much, I start seeing stars. I start seeing, like, I lose vision in my eyes. I have to go down to the floor because I'm worried I might faint. Put my head between my knees because that's what you do if you think you're gonna faint. I've lost the heat from the top half of my body. It's just drained and gone down, and like it's, you know, it's messy. So, and I've also got these chronic migraines that just will not fuck off. So I am getting that checked out because anemia is very manageable. It's very common as well. So, you know, I'm not like fussed about it, but I've never been to the point where like I have no colour in my gums, and I don't like showing my teeth too much on stream because, yeah. But I have very little. I don't know if you can see on my lips actually, because you see my ring light actually makes everything a lot, like, it gives me a little bit more colour than, well, a little bit. It hides all my imperfections. If I turn my ring off right now, you'd see that I actually have raccoon eyes. It doesn't show as much on stream like this because, yeah, because I have like a light on that's projecting and making everything lit up. But if I turn my light off, which I will, so you can see a little bit better. Still, my screen's still lighting me up and everything, but like I have very, very dark, like all of this, like in real life, looks bruised. So I look like I've been punched in the face a little bit. And a lot of that can be down to like dehydration and stuff, but I'm drinking a lot. So I know it's not dehydration. I know I am trying not to day sleep because obviously I've always been a bit of an insomniac. So I've always been like someone who stays up till 4 and then gets up and, you know, carries on with their day. But I have just been, little things are exhausting me, like really exhausting me to the point where I cannot function. I lose my concentration a lot. I know I do anyway because, you know, I have ADHD. I'm like all over the place. But I do, I find like I'm just sitting there and I'll be saying something. I'll be mid-sentence and then I'm like, what the hell was I talking about? Like, where am I? What am I doing? Like, I have brain fog. something chronic. So I'm getting all that looked into. That's not a big deal. Let's start the makeup look, shall we? Or we'll never begin. Yeah, it's been pretty tough because I'm used to being able to, like, just do what I want, like, in the daytime. Like, I have, like, always been someone who's very independent in the sense of, like, if I want to go to town, I'm not going to wait for someone to take me to town. I will walk, you know? Like, it's, especially, like, because of my lungs and stuff, I try to condition my body so I kind of make myself go out and make myself walk. Because you have to, you know? Like, if you have a chronic illness, it's hard to do everyday shit, let alone push yourself to do more. But I have to try and keep my lungs in good condition. So the ways that I do that is I make myself walk, and I make myself sing a lot. I'm not a good singer by any standard, but I like to sing. It helps get the shit out my lungs. So I know I did do a video about all of this before, but I'm not sure, like, who's watched it, because it's quite long. So, like, there is a video about, like, most of my shit that goes on my Twitch channel, but on a rundown, one of the biggest things I have, or two of the biggest things I have, is I have bronchiectasis in my left lung. So my left lung, 3/4 of my left lung doesn't work properly. It's basically, like, the tubes in your lung are supposed to be, like, solid and straight, so that anything that gets in can just be pushed back out and everything. So I call it, like, spaghetti lungs, because the tubes in your lungs should be like hard spaghetti. It should be like, whoop, straight and get shit out. Mine have sagged, like, it's like having a hose that's gone. So it creates pockets which trap any kind of bacteria or infection. Even just normal, like, everyday gunk can turn into pleurisy and pneumonia, especially if I get a chest infection. I never just get a chest infection, because if I get a chest infection, it tends to sit in the pockets, and even after the infection is gone, I still have the bacteria left behind from the infection, and that tends to turn nasty, and it can turn into pneumonia, and then I can get really sick. It can take like 2 or 3 months for me to even clear that shit out of my lungs, let alone it can also trigger like a risk, like, go into another attack. So, like, I could clear the infection, have the antibiotics, then the same stuff that's there but it's been neutralized can regrow and basically turn into another infection. So I basically, yeah, it's hard. I do a lot of lung exercises to try and keep that airway clean. I try and keep my body in a good condition, so that, you know, I give myself the fighting chance. Winter is my worst month by a long shot. What the frick did I just do with that? Winter is my worst month. It's always been my worst month. It always will be my worst month, because everything's cold and damp. So one of my other things that I have is I have Hyperidus Syndrome, which basically means my body believes that it is allergic to everything. On average, the normal human body has something between I think it's 10 and 110. It's a really random, weird number. IgE levels is usually between 10 and 110. Mine was like, I think it was like over 3,500. So my body really does just believe that it's allergic to everything, including the cold. So I have cold-induced Uticaria. If it's really hard to explain how it happens, because people think that it just means, like, if anything cold even slightly touches me, I'll just die. No, it's not like that. It's like, if I'm out and about and it starts to rain, if I've been walking and like I'm warm because I'm walking and everything, so it's like my body will start to have a reaction to the cold, like the wind or the cold rain, and it will start to show up in welts. It's not pleasant. If it leaves my body too quickly, I'll faint. Because I tend to get it on my face, I get it on my arms, my chest, my belly, my legs. It literally goes there. It's on my bum. It's like, it's everywhere. Doesn't matter how many clothes I'm wearing, it will get everywhere. It's manageable. Like, if that happened to me, I could get inside, I'll take an antihistamine, I'll be fine. What the problem is if I'm out and about and that happens and it goes into my throat, it shuts my airway and I have anaphylaxis. So I've had anaphylaxis because of this like multiple times in my life. I have an EpiPen, I have all of the funky tools, but yeah, that's the thing. So I have 4 injections bi-weekly of a drug called Xolair, and this drug basically changed my life. I was the sort of person who was in hospital like all the time. I would go straight to like resus and intensive care because like my body would literally just on a dime like that turn. I don't have like a slow decline. I just go bang, that's it, and then I'm having an attack. I'm very good. I don't panic. I'm very good at not panicking. I've dealt with this shit my entire life. I have like a Zen mode that I go into, which has been a good thing and a bad thing in my life, would you believe? Because I've had it before where I've been having one of the worst attacks of my life and I was very, very, very poorly. And when I went to the hospital, the staff there, like, they didn't believe me at the time. They were like, no, you're not even like, you don't look like you're even having that much of an attack. And then they took my blood gases from the vein, which is in your the main arteries. And they were like, whoa, like, Jesus. Because, you know, that doesn't lie. When you take blood from here, you can't be faking, you can't be lying, because they'll catch you. And that's where they get it from. When they get it from here, that's the thing. So as soon as I had a blood gas, they were like, wow, okay, you're very good at managing yourself. And like, my respiratory team that has worked with me for like most of my life now, they have so much trust in me that I am allowed to self-medicate steroids and I am allowed to self-medicate antibiotics if I think I have an infection. They trust me that much. I have my own home nebulizer kit. I have my own everything that you could possibly imagine. I have a lot of trust within my team, and I just want to point out that my respiratory team are absolutely fucking amazing, and I love them to death because they have been my support for most of my life. I wouldn't be here without them, and I just want to make that extremely clear before I go on to say what the big issue has been with me recently. So the other day I got a phone call, and it was from my consultant. And my consultant has changed hands quite a few times within this clinic because I originally had the leading allergist in the country. He was my consultant, but he was required to move to a different hospital, and I couldn't go for my treatment at that hospital. So he's still basically, he's like the big boss, and then whatever consultant came into the hospital next always went through him to get stuff, but they were basically in control of me, so in control of the nurses and the respiratory team that look after me. So I've changed consultant a couple of times now. I don't know why. I don't know if it's an NHS issue or if they've gone on to bigger and better things. I don't know, but I have changed consultant numerous times. But the guy who's in charge of those consultants with my treatment has always been the same. He's an amazing doctor, and I'm gonna just like state that he changed my entire life. I was basically housebound and bedridden, and I couldn't do anything. I had 2 small children that, like, one of the worst case scenarios for me was there was a time we had friends around, and one of my biggest triggers for an asthma attack is laughing, and it always has been. If I laugh too much, I tend to go into quite a nasty attack. And you guys don't really see that in me now because my life changed. This is worse. I mean, I still get wheezy, I still get tight, and I can still give myself an attack if I'm laughing too much in too much time. But I am no way near as bad as I used to be. And I would have, if I had my friends round, I had my friends round a few times where I've ended up having a massive asthma attack, and I've had to leave my friends in charge of my children. Like, bearing in mind, at this point in my life, I was very keeping my children and my friends separate, because I still wanted to have the individuality of being a mum in the day, and, you know, and a friend who could just chill out and be whoever they wanted to be at night. Like, I wanted that separation for a while. Not like that now. My friends and my kids are integrated and love each other, and, like, we're like a giant family. But it's, like, back then I didn't mix them very well, because it was just for me. I just wanted something for me at that point. And I would have to leave my children at home while my friends were there to go to hospital, and I would end up in the hospital all night, and my friends would end up, like, sitting there all night, basically babysitting these kids who have never met them, like, not properly, and, like, never really had anything too much to do with them. And, you know, I mean, most of the time, if it came down to it, if I had to decide between, if my mum was available, my mum did everything, because my mum works in the hospital. She knows everybody. She's one of those people. And she, sorry, I'm putting my eyeliner on. She would always come with me, and we usually get seen pretty quickly, because, you know, it's priority when, you know, your lungs are failing. And if I ended up in the hospital, like, long stay, which happened all the time, and I mean, like, I was in hospital, like, sometimes, like, I'd be in hospital 2 or 3 times a month. Like, it was that bad. I was on something like 12 steroids a day. When I was pregnant, they put me up to 16 steroids a day, like prednisolone. That's 5 milligrams per tablet, so that's what, 12 times 5, say, for example, which is 60. So I'd be on 60 milligrams of steroids a day, and steroid inhalers, and all my other medication, because I have, basically, when I go to the pharmacy, I come out with a shopping bag, and that's no word of a lie. I could literally just pick up a bag and show you, but I've kind of just organised my desk. I don't want to get everything out again. Okay, that was my doctor. So that's all sorted, which is actually a big relief. Where was I?
A few moments later.
So I was the sort of person who was in hospital a lot, basically. I think that's where I was. I have a lot of medication and stuff, but I started this treatment called Xolair. Dr. put me on it, and my consultant put me on it, and it changed my life. It stopped me from being in hospital all the time. It gave me normalcy, because it didn't just stop all of the, because obviously I have bad asthma, but I also have the Hyperidus Syndrome, so the two don't mix very well, because the allergens cause a lot of asthma attacks. So things like having the cold Uticaria and stuff, which would basically make it so I couldn't even leave the house in the winter. You know, it was really, really bad. But when I started this drug, I didn't have that anymore. I mean, I do have it, but I don't have it anymore. Like, I can go outside right now and be fine. And, you know, as long as I got a jacket on, I'm good. You know, like, my asthma's not great in the winter, and there's change of seasons especially anyway. So I'm still, like, wheezy, I'll still get tight, but I'm not having as dramatic as it's not going to put me in hospital if I walk to the end of the road and back, which is exactly what it was doing before. So it changed my life. And I can't say that enough, because it really, really did. It gave me so much freedom, so much. It just made me feel like a normal human for once. Like, I was still ill, I still ended up in hospital and stuff, and I would still have all the bronchiectasis infections and everything else, but it just made everything bearable. Like, it wasn't to the point where I was like, you know, bedridden, like, for about 75% of the year, you know. It was really good. And so the reason that everything got really dramatic the other day is because they rung me and told me that basically they've decided to take me off of this drug. And it was world ending. And it's really hard. I mean, I cried for 2 days straight because I'm like, I can't go back to what I had before. I can't. I cannot do it. I don't have the strength in me to do that anymore. And it crushed me. It absolutely crushed me. My consultant, he had been to a meeting to discuss my case. And the funny thing is that phone call actually happened on stream. And I said, oh, I'm really glad that he rung me because, you know, he's about to go in and have a meeting. Everything will be fine, la da 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 da, you know, because I was not expecting what he said to me when he rung me back after stream, which happened. Literally, I came off stream. I was in a really good mood. I was like, wow, you know, I'm pumped. I'm gonna do loads of stuff today. It's great. And then he rung me back and he was like, so, and bless his heart, he tried to make it sound like good news. So he said, so we're going to stop the treatment. And I was like, right. And he was like, so we need to see you get sick again. And I was like, excuse me? Like, I really don't know how he failed to see how his wording would affect me. He said, we want to review your case. We think we can do better by you, but we need you to get sick again. We need to take you off the treatment. You're not having any more treatment now. Don't come in on Monday. We need you to tell us when you get sick, and we need to monitor it for a while. And I was like, right, so when does this new treatment start? And he said, well, it won't. We need you to be sick first so we can get the information. And in my head, I was like, what the actual fuck is happening here? Like I felt like they were literally just cutting me off and throwing me to the wolves, which is what it really sounded like. And I can't stress that enough. Like, I wasn't just hearing, you know, white noise and nothing else. I could not understand. And he must have heard by the sound of my voice that he'd shocked me, because I found out from my respiratory team, which I did see on Monday, even though he told me not to come in, I went in. And he said that he was really worried because he'd thought that he'd shocked me because I just didn't have a normal response. And I'm like, that is kind of something I've heard a lot in my life. Like, I don't express normal reactions. If someone tells me bad news, like, I don't know if they expect me to just break down there and then, or have, like, be angry or shout or do something, but whatever it was, I didn't react the way he expected me to react. And I don't know if that threw him off and that's why he said it in such a really bad way, but he definitely scared the living shit out of me. I was like, oh my god, I'm gonna die. I don't want my kids to see me go through that, because, you know, when I was ill before, at least they were little. They don't really remember it as much. My kids have had to be so fucking resilient throughout their entire lives. And Jace, bless him, oh my god, he has looked after me so much throughout my entire life. He's literally been my entire rock. And he's going, you know, like, this is not a great time for anyone right now. Workplaces are stressful, shit's going on, I'm not feeling well, so he's picking up all the slack indoors. Like, I was already feeling like a massive fucking letdown. And then this came in, I was like, I'm gonna get sick again. I'm gonna get sick again. I'm gonna go back to being ill again. Like, I am an ill person, but I don't consider myself an ill person anymore because I know what the hell I went through to get to where I am now. And even though my life isn't perfect right now, it's, to me, it was like, better the devil you know than the devil that you don't. And knowing where I came from, I just can't go back to that. I can't. I just cannot. I spent the whole night crying until I passed out, and then I woke up, I cried some more, and I'm not gonna lie, I was in my head, I was making a plan. I was like, I'm not having my kids watch me go through this. I'm not having my husband have to pick up all this extra stress. I'm not doing it. I'm just not fucking doing it. I was like, I need to leave. I need to go away. I need to go and die in a hole somewhere. I need to do something. I just couldn't fathom the idea of having to watch them watch me go through it again, because it's soul destroying. You can't tell me that doesn't affect people, because it does. I know it affects people, you know, and I couldn't do it. Like, if it was just me in my life and I didn't have everything going for me, like my family and everything, I probably wouldn't give a shit. And I know that sounds really fucking depressing, but I wouldn't. I just wouldn't give a shit. I'd be like, oh well, I'm gonna die. Fuck it. Whatever. But, like, in my head, I was like, I can't have my family watch that. I can't have my family watch me go through that again. My mum, bless her, she's already got so much stress going on. She doesn't need it. You know? It really puts so much stress onto a family situation. Not in a, like, that's the thing as well, is that, like, I have a complex with my mental health of being attached to my actual health. I feel worthless. I feel like a letdown. I feel like a shithead because I can't control anything. I can't stop anything. And it doesn't matter how many times people tell me, it's okay, we get it, we don't worry about it, it's not your fault, don't worry, you know, we love you, we're here for you, we don't expect you to do, and that doesn't help. It doesn't help. It doesn't make me feel any less of a dickhead, because, you know, when shit goes wrong in life, you want somewhere to put blame, and when you're chronically ill, there is no place to put blame. It's, you know, technically it's not my fault, but at the same time, it's my problem, so it is my fault. Like, in my head, I went through so much therapy to get out of this mindset, to get out of feeling like this kind of worthless piece of shit, just for everything to be undone in one phone call. It was awful. Just fucking awful. So, that happened, and my world literally just crashed. My world crashed around me. I was like, what the fuck am I gonna do? Because I can't go back to being like, I just can't go back to being like that. I can't do it. I can't do it. And so I was in such a state I couldn't talk. Like, I was going into proper meltdown, shutdown mode where I just wouldn't talk. I didn't want to, like, I let people know. I got Jace to tell my friends. I told Dave, and obviously my family, my mum told and everything, but like my mum took the reins, like she does, because she's my mum, and she rung the respiratory team on my behalf and basically said, what the actual hell? And my mum was convinced it was a financial problem, like a financial issue, because the NHS is having struggles and the treatment is very, very expensive. And you know, these women have looked after me my entire life, pretty much. Like, especially over the last 10 years, where they have been my sole, like, support network. And they said, look, we're not down with the whole cutting off thing. We're not doing that. It doesn't sound like it's been explained too well. So, you know, come in on Monday for the appointment like you usually would, despite being told don't come in for my appointment. I didn't have Xolair. There is no going back onto Xolair. Well, not for the foreseeable future. So here's the thing. I do have to go back to being sick. I don't have any other way around it. And the issue behind it is that there are 2 treatments that they feel are going to be better for me. Some people who have been put on one of these treatments even say that they feel like they don't even have asthma anymore. Like, it's that good. So the chemical, the drug that they use in Xolair and in these other drugs are called biologics. So they change your biochemistry, I guess. So Xolair works by, when you have an allergic reaction, your body creates histamines. That's why we take antihistamines, to stop allergic reactions and stuff. When you're bad like me, my body, Hyperidus Syndrome, has made thousands upon thousands of histamines, and it starts attacking itself inside because it thinks that, you know, it reacts to everything. It thinks everything is an attack, so it just reacts to everything. So what Xolair does is it doesn't stop the histamines from being made. It doesn't stop the histamines from being there. It's just like a special coating that goes around the histamine. And the reason I'm doing it like an around is because I've seen the visual of this drug. Like, they show you like all of the information. So imagine a histamine like a little ball, like a little floating ball that's got little spines. And what this drug does is it coats them. So they are in there, but your body can't use them. It can't use them to attack itself. It can't use them to make a reaction over nothing. Because my allergies were so bad that when they did the allergy test, I reacted to the negative. Like in a sterile environment, my body said, fuck that, needle, no thanks, and just came up in welts. So Xolair basically coats the histamines, stops them from being reactive. And that's how that works. So these new drugs, I'm not entirely sure. I haven't had it explained to me yet how they work. Like, I haven't had the information packets. I haven't had the, you know, information provided to me yet. But what they need to see is they need to see which treatment route they want me to be put on. And in order to do that, I have to go through being without. I have to flush Xolair out of my system, because biologics can't coexist. So if I can't start a new treatment until the old one is out of my system. And Xolair works in the way like, so once I started the drug, it takes something like 6 months or something to get it properly into your system, because each time you get I had 4 injections every 2 weeks. So each time I get those 4 injections, they basically top up the amount that's in my body. So like, if my body has this much, after 2 weeks have gone, my body's gone down to this much. So I still have it in my system. I just don't, you know, it needs topping up. So they'll top it up and I go back up to the top again. So what they need to do is they need to flush the entire thing out. And to do that, it might take my body 2 weeks. It might take my body 4 weeks. It might take my body 2 months. It might take my body 6 months. And in that time, my body is going to get weaker. My reactions are going to come back. And my asthma is going to get worse. My lungs are going to deteriorate. And all of this is happening in winter, which is my worst fucking month. I have had qualms about this. I have told them that I'm struggling with the concept of doing this in winter, especially because they know how quickly because my body never goes on a slow decline. It literally turns on a dime. And, you know, they said, yeah, we know this. The consultant that works with me right now, bless him, he's great. And I'm not dissing him in the slightest. But he wasn't there when my body was reactive. He doesn't know how quickly, like, he can read the information in a book, like, because I've got a lot of volumes to my medical records. I've got more medical records than a 90-year-old. And he can sit and do the research if he wants. He can read back through my history and see how bad it gets. But he's never seen it. He's never seen me code. He wasn't there when I had to be brought back. He wasn't there when all the shit went down, you know, like, he hasn't seen it. And unfortunately, when you go around looking a certain way, people don't tend to believe that you're sick. And I get that a lot. People have always been very, very discriminative discriminating about the fact that if you don't look continuously sick, people just assume that you're faking. And it's disgusting. Sorry, I'm just doing my eyes. So, I've been very terrified that this guy is underestimating my body. My body has never been normal in the sense of, like, it's always gone about things in a way that doctors usually haven't seen. And I'm not saying that to try and sound like a fucking special snowflake or anything. It just genuinely is. I just don't... I'm just scared. So sick of this shit, you know? I don't want to go back to it, but I have to go through the fire. I have to walk through fire to get to the other side, and knowing how that fire feels, knowing that I've walked it before, it's fucking terrifying, you know? I'm not exaggerating when I say that, like, my life back then was just hell. It was so fucking awful. And I really just hate that I have to go back through it. And what it means is that if I didn't already feel like a giant fucking letdown, I'm gonna feel even more like a massive letdown in the next few months to come. Because if you think my streaming record and my being around for everybody right now, like being in stuff, is bad now, you don't know what's to come. Because I know what my body's like. I know how much it's gonna deteriorate. I know where I'm going. I know where I'm going, and that's the thing that's scary. Most people are like, oh, you know what? Can't be that bad. It is that bad. It really is that bad. I've had the luxury of living without it. Well, not without it, just living with it manageable. But they say that they think they can do better by me. And this is the guy that changed my life in the first place. This is the consultant who changed my life in the first place, now saying that he thinks they can do better by me. So he thinks he can change my life again. And I do trust him. I do trust him. I'm just not looking forward to this. I'm so fucking not looking forward to this. It's gonna be hell on earth. So my attendance places might be spotty. I'm gonna feel like the world's worst friend. The world's worst entertainer. And I think maybe one of the reasons why I chose to do this as a video instead of stream it is because I don't want people telling me that I'm not. Because as much as, like, I appreciate, I understand, and I love the support, and, like, honestly, it's amazing. I don't feel like I deserve it, but, like, you know, sometimes when bad shit happens, it's not about being told that it's gonna be better when you know it's not. Like, there's a little bit of, not patronizing-ism or patriotism or condescension. It's just, sometimes you just have to accept that things are going to be bad, and you don't get to say it won't, you'll be fine, you'll be fine, because I know what it's like, and a lot of people don't know what it's like, and that might make me sound like a real bitch and really, what's the word, like self-centered and just horrible, because there are still obviously worse people out there than me. There are still obviously worst case scenarios out there than me and everything, which is why I don't talk about, or I try not to talk about my shit very often, is because I just don't like hearing myself talk about it all the time. Like, I could sit and complain till the cows come home. It's not going to change anything. It's just, I kind of don't want to hear that it's going to be okay when I know it's not going to be okay. Because I have to accept that. Sometimes you do just have to accept that. Sometimes you do just have to accept you have to walk through fire. And it is what it is. You don't get to really say, you know, I just don't want people to keep telling me it's going to be okay, because it makes me feel like when it's not okay, it feels like a letdown. Like I'm letting people down because it's not okay. Does that make sense? Like, I know what I mean. It's very hard to try and explain. Sometimes life is shit and you just have to fucking deal with it. And unfortunately, that is my situation right now. I really wish it wasn't, but it is. And I just feel like there are going to be days where I'm going to complain that I want to quit and I want to sit down and I don't want to get up, you know, and I don't want to fight because it's fucking tough. It's fucking hard. It doesn't mean I will give up. I'm too stubborn. But I do have to accept that shit's gonna happen. I think I've said that like 50 times now, and I do apologise. I know I'm repeating myself, and I know I'm being really shit, but... And I'm trying really hard to not sound shitty, because I love everyone who's been so fucking kind and sweet and lovely to me. And I do so much appreciate you guys. I really do. Like, the community that I've found and the people that I've become friends with. Like, you guys are fucking amazing. And I treasure it, honestly, I really do. I get frustrated because this isn't who I wanted to be. And over the last 10 years, since I started the treatment, I feel like I've taken steps to becoming more okay with myself, more forgiving of myself, more like... I've been bolder and braver than I don't know. And it's really tough, you know, because there are days when you don't want to be brave. There are days when you want to just cry. And it kind of ends up feeling like an expectation when people are like, but you're so brave, you're so strong. It's like, no, I'm not. Some days I'm really not. Some days I just want to die. Some days I want to just stay in bed and cry. Like, and all of those are valid thoughts too, because it's tough, you know? It's tough, but you have to face it. And it's ugly. It's tough, it's fucking ugly, it's shit. It's absolute shit. But kind of is what it is, and ignoring it doesn't make it any better. I'm sorry, it's because I'm trying to focus at the same time. I'm kind of like just talking in circles, I think. It's really hard. News is, I mean, I was already sort of on edge because I've got rheumatology appointment coming up and I've got an ophthalmology appointment coming up because there is something at the back of my eye that needs to be looked at, and obviously my pain levels, like, as I've got older, have just become more and more. But the thing is that because of the constant steroid use throughout my life, you know, prednisolone steroid, not anything else, but because of that, I've my bones are weakened, and you know, my joints are weakened. Everything about my body is weakened as I've got older. You know, they told me to have children young because they said that my heart and my body wouldn't cope with a pregnancy at an older age. They told me if I hadn't had children by the age I was 25 that I would probably not be able to have children at all. Considering that they told me they didn't think I'd be able to have children at all when I was, you know, 16, and then lo and behold, when I was 19, I fell pregnant. But because they told me that they didn't think I'd be able to have children, and they told me that if I was to have children, I would have to have them young, I was like, no, you know, we're doing this. This is a miracle that I'm even fucking pregnant. I'm fucking doing it. And then, you know, and then I was blessed the second time, and I did what they said. You know, I had my children young, but they all, you know, I kind of started feeling like I could take my life back a little bit and have it do the things that I want to do. And then the fucking pandemic hit, and everything's been on hold, but I still had plans, you know, and knowing that those plans are now going to have to go on a further hold, it just sucks, you know. And I feel like such a shithead for complaining when there are like people like who have cancer and other illnesses that really impact their life, and I feel like I'm just a complete shit for moaning about mine. But this is a dramatic change for me, and I'm gonna go back to being sick, and I hate it. But I feel like it's kind of valid that I should be allowed to talk about it, especially with you guys, because, you know, I want you all to know what's going on. I don't like leaving mysterious fucking tweets. Like, it does my nut. I can't stand it when people do that. Like, oh no, this happened, but I can't tell you about it. But I just needed to get the words out. Like, really fucking needed to get the words out and off of my chest, which is why I did. But I always intended to come on and talk about it, and then, you know, then I sort of thought to myself, well, I may as well wait and have all my ducks in a row, like, know what's going on, know what my options are before talking about it, because I didn't just want to dump emotional shit on you guys and then feel like everything's doom and gloom. Like, there is a plan in place, there is action to be taken, it's just not going to happen straight away. And I do have to go through shit to get there. But it is going to happen, you know. I don't believe in dumping my emotional baggage on people and then just being like, oh yeah, look, woe is me, pity me. Like, fuck it, I can't stand pity. I cannot fucking stand pity. It just drives me up the fucking wall. Like, if that helps people to deal with stuff, then absolutely more power to them. But for me, as I'm so proud as a person, like, I have so much fucking pride. I can't tolerate the idea that people are sitting there going, oh, Nyx, oh no, Nyx is, she can't, you know, like, oh, woe is that, and I can't believe this, and it's not fair on her and stuff. And it's like, well, it's not fair on me, but it could have happened to anyone, you know, it could be anybody. It's just unfortunate. It is me, for me, but rather me than my kids, rather me than Jace, so... Right, let's put some fucking warrior runes on. Let's put some runes of power on and wrap this shit up, because I don't want to end this video either on doom and gloom. I still have goals. I'm still gonna get my shit done. I'm just not gonna do it right now. So I guess everything that I had planned to do next year will depend on how my health is again. But, fuck it. Right, what are we doing? We're doing courage and strength. Oh, this is okay. My hand's so steady. Okay, my hair would like today. Great. Oh, yes, that's done before. I don't know how to use Unleash. Oh, fix it. I'm going to do it. Okay, I see you. Okay, you've got courage, you've got strength. I don't really have to room. Maybe you should be healing. Healing. Now, this is the camera, is that or not? Well, let's say I'm doing some actually, I shit. Hello. Well, we've got courage, strength, healing, which is that before what I can see on the screen. Yeah, backwards, and sit. Really got the health on this one. Finish it on the nose. Where do we get it? One chin. Jack. There we go. That's pretty much all I wanted to talk about. Not giving up. I might sit down every now and then, but I don't give up. I might complain and bitch and moan and fucking wonder what it's all about. Question why every now and then. But I promise I won't give up. You have an on-stream, on-camera promise. This is my contract saying I don't give up. I will not give up. I promise that I will not. This could have done so. This is actually not too bad, but I wouldn't have minded a couple of like contact lenses in there. As always, I should have put my contact lenses in first. But if you've sat through this entire fucking thing, well done. I commend you. I don't know what stream schedule or even co-hosting schedule is going to be like. Hopefully, I think I'll be fine to co-host, so I'll probably still do stuff with Dave, hopefully. I just have to take every day as how it goes and deal with it. Like right now, I need to get the anemia sorted out. When the anemia is sorted out, I will be back. And then when I start getting sick, I'll be around as much as possible. I'm not giving up. I'm still going to do shit. I'm still going to do what I want. I just need patience and time to get my head around everything. So, I'm going to try and trim the fat on this a little bit. Might try my hand at editing it a little bit. Just a little bit. Just a little bit. But I will be back when I'm back. Streams are going to be sporadic. I'm sorry. Twitch wants me to do X amount of hours in a month. They can jog on. Because that might not be feasible for me right now. We'll see. We'll see what happens. But I will catch you guys when I catch you guys. And yeah. Be awesome.